For over 2 decades, the world of One Piece operated on a strict biological set of rules. If you ate a devil fruit, your body permanently gained one specific physical property. Take the Mythical Zoan on Hito fruit. Eating it grants a human the ability to transform into a giant mythological monk. The mechanics are entirely straightforward. The user's physical form changes, their strength increases proportionally, and that is the absolute ceiling. But recently, those rigid biological limits shattered. We watched a 12-year-old girl alter her DNA to become a sun deity, and we saw a 900-year-old mechanical giant suddenly shuddering back to life simply because it heard a specific rhythmic heartbeat. Looking at him grabbing lightning bolts or turning enemies into jump ropes, it's incredibly easy to assume the author threw out the rulebook and embraced pure, chaotic cartoon logic. These anomalies indicate that the underlying physics of the Grand Line are being rewritten, graduating from simple biological transformations to a system where the laws of nature are dictated by the user's psyche. The transition begins in Chapter 1044, when the world government's ruling council, the Gorosei, reveals that Luffy never actually ate the rubber fruit. He ate the Mythical Zoan Nika fruit, a power bearing the name of a sun god. The council notes something deeply specific about Zoan fruits. They possess a mind and will of their own. The fruit itself has a psychological component that interacts directly with the biology of the user. This diagram shows how that psychological component rewrites combat. The old linear progression of physical strength shatters into a multi-directional web. Watching this expand, we see how imagining running on air cancels gravity, and imagining an island-sized fist generates mass. By substituting a biological metric with a purely mental one, physical durability and stamina are no longer the ultimate deciders of a fight. The highest tier of power now belongs to whoever has the most expansive, unshackled mind. We see this mental metric system codified through Jewelry Bonney. Her ability, Distorted Future, allows her to temporarily access alternate timelines, letting her physically transform into whatever version of herself she can envision. This graph charts Vegapunk's deduction. Bonney's power scales mathematically with her internal belief. As she doubts her reality, the line plummets sharply, choking off her power. But witnessing the Sun God Nika, absolute faith causes the data line to spike completely off the chart. Bonney's psychological regression and subsequent evolution establish a hard rule for this era of the story. Faith is no longer acting as a thematic metaphor. It is the literal, weaponized fuel source powering the character's biology. This concept of metaphysical energy extends directly into the world's machinery through Emmett, the Iron Giant. Vegapunk, possessing the most advanced scientific mind in history, spent years trying to reverse engineer Emmett's power source and completely failed. This visual represents the solution Vegapunk missed. The robot wasn't waiting for electricity or combustion. It required an acoustic trigger. The specific rhythm of Luffy's heartbeat, the drums of liberation, acts as an energetic battery that perfectly locks into the mechanical gear. Once active, Emmett utilizes a weapon entirely detached from modern physics. Centuries ago, the ancient pirate Joy Boy took his ultimate haki, his conqueror's willpower, and physically sealed it inside a rope knot stored within the robot's chassis. By simply untying that knot 900 years later, Emmett releases a massive stored burst of Joy Boy's psychological force. The sheer pressure of that ancient willpower instantly cancels out the demonic transformations of the Gorosei and violently clears the battlefield. A piece of rope holding on to a man's willpower outlasted and outperformed the highest tier of scientific weaponry. Conceptual resonance and inherited will are tangibly stronger than any machine. The convergence of these three mechanics, Luffy's boundless imagination, Bonney's absolute faith, and Emmett's stored will, shifts the nature of victory in One Piece. Success now depends on internal psychological liberation. Standing in direct opposition to that liberation is the world government and its hidden leader, Imu. This regime operates by erasing history and demanding absolute subjugation to maintain a predictable, controlled world. A totalitarian structure relies on measuring, categorizing, and suppressing physical threats. It has no defense against a power that is inherently ridiculous, because an opponent operating on pure imagination cannot be quantified or contained by rigid laws. By manifesting powers that defy gravity and mass, Luffy and his allies have become an uncontainable variable. Their chaotic, unpredictable nature is a direct mechanical counter to Imu's project of absolute world subjugation. This shift toward cartoon logic weaves the struggles of freedom into the literal laws of reality. Oda has reached a point where the protagonist's ability to laugh and imagine is the only force capable of overriding the physical authority of the state.